Yeah, the next PSA, this is big or small, or I don't know. You tell us what you think about this. So this is kind of crazy. So Matchtech has reported on this issue, and it is a repeatable issue, that if you have HDZero goggles, specifically, and Avatar is also affected, but mainly HDZero goggles, and you run your Crossfire at 250 watts to 1 watt, even in
milliwatts.
You're right, even in dynamic. 250 milliwatts to 1 watt, even in dynamic power mode. Putting that antenna either near the front of the goggles, near the goggles face, or down the power cord in an orientation with the power cord will cause the goggles to shut off and reset. And sometimes the goggles will not reboot on their own, and you need to use the power cable.
All right, let's see it happen.
It will also do it, though, via the power cable too, and that's why I've got it stretched out. Because the first thing I want to do is show you the behavior, and then I'll show you it with the battery power cable too, to show you where it sort of kicks in. So what I'm going to do is hold the HDZero goggles here. I'm just going to pick up my radio there, and what I'm going to do is begin to move the radio close to the goggles, and as you can see there, they've rebooted. Now, at that point, you can hear that the fans actually stopped working. They're kicking in again now, and the goggles will reboot. Now,
oh my goodness gracious. That's extraordinary.
So it happens with the power cable, and it happens with the goggle face. It seems to be any 900 megahertz link. He tests a different 900 megahertz transmitter he has, and it also happens with that. It's just most users are going to be on Crossfire. We presume it would happen with ELRS 900 as well. No reason to think it wouldn't.
Right. 900 megahertz is famous for causing all kinds of interference. You heard the buzzing coming from his microphone. I've had issues when I flew Crossfire as my daily with the lavalier mic that I would wear on my chest. It's not a wireless mic, but just having the Crossfire held on my belly, next to me, if I was above about 250 milliwatts, I'd get buzzing. And so it's not a surprise that this is happening, although we have to point out that it doesn't happen. So it doesn't happen to Walksnail. What does Walksnail do?
It does. So Walksnail has an effect. If you hold the antenna too close, he shows this in the video too, but if you hold the antenna too close, essentially the goggles will internally, you can hear a change. So it sounds like the fans either kick on or off. And then also the USB video out was shutting off on him, but he could look in and the receiver was still active, and you could see
the goggles keep working. So that's good. And DJI goggles, no effect whatsoever, because
they seem to have enough shielding because of the way they're built that they're covered for that sort of thing. And as Matchtech points out, HDZero never had to build in shielding because they don't transmit, so they don't have to have an FCC ID, right?
Oh, that's interesting.
Walksnail really should have, because they got an FCC approval for the product, right?
That's interesting. So I think we can expect that HDZero will be on this quickly. That they will come up with some kind of a plan to remediate it. Carl's usually on these things.
I'd be interested to know what that is. Like, I could only assume it's only future hardware, right? You can't shield hardware that's already out.
They could publish. I mean, they could publish some kind of a method of putting shielding inside the goggles. They did that with the antenna issue that was raised after the goggles were first released. They came up with an aftermarket fix for people who already had the goggles. It's theoretically possible that they would have some instructions. It's not outside the realm of possibility that they would offer some kind of a recall for people who are worried about this and repair them in the factory.
I don't think this is recall worthy. I think this is normal behavior for 900 megahertz and high power. You're set next to some goggles, right?
But these are FPV goggles. It is completely within normal expectations that they would be in proximity to a high-powered Crossfire transmitter. For them to completely shut off and reboot under that circumstance, I don't think it's like when Radio Master modules had that bug where if you plugged in a battery, it would fry your radio. Right. That was like, shut up, recall every one of them, get them off the market, right? This is not that. But like if a user was like, I don't feel comfortable using these goggles, I could see HDZero saying, look, if you want, we'll take them back and we'll repair them in some way. But what is that going to be? Like adding shielding? I don't know.
Right. People are pointing out too that The power cable would also need to be shielded, or you need to provide some alternative solution to that too, right? Since it seems to be traveling down the power cable.
Like an inductor. They just put like an inductor on the power cable. Obviously, like that. How hard could it be? He said, not knowing much about. Like, I would guess that Carl is on this, if he's aware of it, which I assume MadsTech has notified him. So, well, if there is an update, we will let you know as it comes out. But in the meantime.
Main thing is just so I think the main thing this will happen, like the main time anybody would see this is if you're wearing your goggles, you have a battery in your pocket, right?
Right.
And you've got the wire coming down your side of your body.
Bingo.
And you turn or move your Crossfire antenna to be oriented with it. So I think like in most cases it's never going to be triggered, but if you know the case where it could be, now you can attempt to avoid it.
Yeah. Just going to throw this in there. Thank you, Black Jungle, for the meme. That's a good one.
Same page there for sure.
That's a good one. And mostly just don't effing do this. But the power cable is the one that would really, surprise people.
Yeah, so, I think so. Because that's where I think most of this is going to
Did MadsTech discover this, or did someone else discover it and he made a video about it first?
I assume someone else discovered it, but I didn't see him. I may have missed it, but I didn't see him attribute this to anybody.
Okay,
so.
Well, credit to MadsTech, unless he's not the one who discovered it, in which case credit to him for, making us aware of it, and credit to whoever discovered it. Yes. Wesley Vardy just recommends sending out free Express LRS 2.4 gigahertz modules, and this won't happen. 2.4 gigahertz. There you go.